So I'm just going to bet here. I'll probably get a lot of folds with ace-king. So I got a call, so I'm not going to win. 2 calls. So hopefully somebody raises it. That's a terrible flop. But nobody should hit it. Somebody might have ace-10. But I'm not going to win this hand because the ace-king chances are. I'm going to win this hand because of skill. If I do win. I didn't win because I had ace-king. Most people would have checked. I won that based on experience. So some of the crazy storylines they work about me is I'm an alien. I'm the mob boss, but I've never received a cent, never issued an order. All I do is try to kill electronic rapists, terrorists, and pedophiles with my thoughts. So I play any card that I need to play. So sometimes I play that I'm an alien to these people. I have to encourage them to get to the afterlife. That's where the party's at. And bringing some evil people with them. I would never want to psychologically manipulate people that believe they had private thoughts to jump. But these evil people that listen to my thoughts, I want them all to jump. I want them to jump in front of cars, subways, off buildings. Do whatever they can. Carbon monoxide. Taking a bath, falling asleep. Just evil people. Innocent people that believe they have private thoughts. I wish nothing but the best luck for them. Some of them might be bad and I wouldn't like them as a person, but that doesn't mean that they're not destined for heaven one day. They can be prickly, and that's fine. As long as they're not evil. If they're evil and prickly, then they gotta go. Because in this world, assholes finish first, and that's wrong. I have gonna have all the power in the world, so it's gonna be nice guys finish first. Hard-working people finish first. Nice guys aren't guaranteed to finish first, but they're not gonna be taken advantage of just because they're nice guys or nice people. It's gonna be encouraged, like especially leaders. To become a leader in one of my companies in the future, you're not going to be ruling them like with the iron fist. You're going to be leading them, directing them, motivating them. Hopefully, they respect you enough to work harder for you. Because a good leader, I know for myself, not giving any shout outs to any former bosses, but if I liked the boss as a person, I didn't want to let him down, so I worked harder. I worked harder because I respected him. Whereas if I didn't respect him, I still did my job, don't get me wrong, but I didn't go above and beyond every day. And that's the difference between a good leader and a boss. A boss kind of, they do what they have to do to keep their job. A leader, they do what they do. They do what they can to impress you, basically. Woo! What's this? Okay, I got the 0 draws, so I'm gonna fold. If you're in that situation and you're new to poker, sure you have the ace, but there's really only 3 aces left in the deck. If you hit a pair of 8s, somebody could have a pair of 9s, so it would be busted. A pair of jacks could be busted, or 2 pairs could be busted. And especially with if I would have called that bet, with this bet and all these people that act after me, I would have wasted 756 chips, basically. So really, you only call a bet if you're first right after the razor. If there's lots of people that act after you, you only call that bet if you're committed to the hand to call a raise. Because if you're not prepared to call a raise, fold the hand, save yourself the money. Because if you're not going to call an all in, when that was likely to happen with that 756 bet, somebody else was likely to go all in. So if you don't have an all in caliber hand, then fold. Don't even chase. Save yourself the money. Save yourself a whole bunch of heartache, and especially if it's real money, you save yourself a small fortune over time doing this. They say defense wins championships, so it's making those great folds that save you from being busted, basically. If I could fold the last hand of the day, basically, that I lose, I'd be super profitable. Because usually, well, I don't risk it all at once normally on this site, but on this other real money website, like if I turned 40 cents into 40 bucks at the table, I'd kind of get bored at that table, so then I would go up to the higher level table and usually get unlucky. But which was, I'd get flop 2 pair and lose to a higher 2 pair or something like that, right? I'd climb up to, one point I think I climbed up to like 200 bucks at the $4,100 table, and or 168 bucks in a couple hands, and then I proceeded to lose it all, getting unlucky. Which is strange. It happens on every site. Every time I jump up a level, I get unlucky at that new level, and it's strange because there's days that you should be on fire, like where it doesn't matter what you touch, it should be gold. And I played so many. I'm a good player. I've been ranked professional 4 times on a real money website, and so I'm a good player, and so it's strange that I haven't had consistent performance day in, day out. I should be profitable 4 days out of 5 with my skill level. 4 days out of 5, I should be a profitable player. I should be up enough on those 4 days that I always cover the 5th day when I lose. Because I almost never go all in pre-flop. Almost never. I'd never risk it all going all in pre-flop because there's community cards that could rain on my parade. So my skill is playing after the flop. So it's not advantageous for me to go all in pre-flop because I could outplay people after the flop. So I try not to go all in pre-flop. Unless I know I'm going to get called and I have a monster hand. But I almost never go all in pre-flop with 7 deuce. Maybe if I had a bankroll, I would do it, but it's just too risky of a play. Sure, it works like 6 times, but when you get caught, you always lose almost. But that doesn't mean I won't go all in with some marginal hands. But I won't with the worst, unless the situation calls for it. If I've been tight for, if I sit out for like say a round and a half, and I'm getting no cards, I might just jam with any 2 cards at one point, just because my table image at that point is that I've been so tight that I haven't been playing a card. So anybody that's observant should give me some respect folds, or they're going to be more. You're not going to see too many calls with 7-10. Or at least you shouldn't. If the guy's been sitting out for a small stack guy, especially if he's been sitting out for a round or 2, being that patient, expect him to have something good when he goes all in. Because it's pretty much when they're at that point where it's fold or all in, if they have patience to wait, it might be ace 10, but chances are if they wait like 20-30 hands, they're waiting for aces, they're waiting for ace king, they're waiting for a good hand. So if you have a monster stack in that scenario, I call them all the time, especially if it's a bounty tournament. If it's not a bounty tournament, I don't. But if it's a bounty tournament, I'll call with 7 deuce, knowing that they probably have aces, because they might have like say 1,200 chips, but I have 30,000. So it's nothing for me to call and risk it for that potential bounty. So I almost automatically call, which is good for the short stacks because I double them up lots. I double up short stacks lots. I don't usually lose big pots to the guy that has me covered, but I lose because I don't respect the short stacks. So I lose pots to them. And because if I have 30K, I don't even care if I lose 4K in a pot to a short stack. Don't even care. It doesn't, I would still have 26K, and then as long as I don't run into a bad beat after that, I could still recover. I could chip away the next couple hands and earn back, say, 2-3K bluffing. And so my playing style is a roller coaster. Like I'm confident that I could come from behind, so I'm so used to playing as David versus Goliath that when I do have when I am Goliath, I'm pretty hard to beat at that point. But if you believe you have private thoughts, I suggest sticking with play money poker until I become world famous and known as the world leader, because poker is, they could register you in a system, and then next thing you know, you don't get luck. You get unlucky, and these electronic pedophiles and rapists, they cheat you, and they end up bankrupting you. And so good people who believe they have private thoughts are victimized, because they need to be aware that their thoughts aren't always private. They could be hacked. So we need software, particularly artificial intelligence, to be able to protect our brains. And it's going to be an expense that people are going to have to pay. If not, they're going to be violated. So they're going to have to, part of their disposable income is going to have to cover this technology, and it has to be updated every day. So it's going to be an ongoing expense. It's not like you could pay for it once when people are developing software every second of the day. So it's not like you could buy the software program in October and it'd still be good in December when they're updating the software every day to try to hack your brain. So there needs to be a lot of money to defend against that. Because we're vulnerable. We're made up of water. Water conducts electricity, so we could be hacked. We could be shocked. You should know this. If you've ever been shocked, slightly shocked, it's not fun, but so they're able to use satellites and cell phone infrastructure, basically, and to tune into our thoughts. They've been listening to our thoughts at least since the radio has been invented, probably even glimpses of our thoughts before then. Like crystal balls have been around for thousands of years, so there's some truth to that. But nowadays with artificial intelligence, they could see a lot better, more clear. Before, it used to take thousands of people to track one person, but now one person could track thousands of people with this technology, unfortunately. So, dispatching the ones that are harmful to mankind with my King of the World title. Only if you believe I'm the King of the World. One day. With your mind. Not with your body, gun, weapons. With your mind. Or any device. Since clothing's a device, food's a device, machinery's a device, but not a physical known weapon that most people would consciously perceive as a weapon, like a hammer. Don't kill somebody with a hammer. But with your mind. Kill your electronic violators with your mind. If you believe you have private thoughts, say that to yourself. I want to kill my electronic violators with my mind. It sounds outlandish, but trust me, it's going to save your life. Because every time I try to help innocent people, these evil people try to circumvent it. If you're new to poker, this is a pretty hand, but pretty disappointing. You can play it occasionally if you have lots of chips. Like I'm 3.9k in the profit, so I'm gonna see a flop for fit. Right now it's worthwhile because for 50 chips I could win 550. So I'm getting pretty good pot odds. Unless this guy raises. If he raises, I just wasted 50 chips. But they don't normally raise from big blind. That's why I called. When you play a hand like this is the flop you expect. That's why you don't play these hands. Because you're going to be disappointed. You might get a 4-card flush and then be disappointed that you don't get the 5th one. And when you do hit the 5th one, somebody could have 8 high flush, 9 high flush, etc. all the way up. So then usually you lose a big pot at that point when you're a beginner player. When you get more seasoned, you don't risk it all on a flush for a low flush all the time. You got to pick your spots because sometimes you have to maximize your profit, and then other times you got to, when you expect a higher flush or a full house to beat you, then you want to try not to maximize your profit. But flush is a strong hand, so you should try to, even though it might not be the nuts, you should try to maximize your profit most of the time. As long as your gut isn't telling you that they have a higher flush or a 4 of a kind or a straight flush. But it's a strong enough hand that it pays you off most of the time, but it beats you and you lose with it a lot of the time as well. So I usually don't play flushes, like suited cards under, unless they're suited connectors, sometimes I'll play them. But just random 2 suited cards, maybe if it's a jack. A jack is pretty much as low as I'll go. Other than when I called the flop for 50 chips. If it was any more than that, I wouldn't have called. But I would never call a raise with a jack suited, so like say jack 4 suited. Never, unless I have profit and I'm gonna try to outplay them. But never based on hand quality would I call a raise with jack 4 suited. Or king 10 suited. Because king 10 suited is a good hand, but it disappoints you because you're gonna run into the ace high flush occasionally, or the straight flush. I was in a hand about 2 weeks ago now. On video, I put the guy on a straight flush. I put him on the king of clubs. I had the ace high flush, and he had the straight flush. But I only called because I'm trying to get sponsorships and endorsements, so I called for the video basically. It was a small pot. It was a couple dollars. If it was a big pot, I wouldn't have, because I was pretty certain he had the king. But I didn't develop that skill overnight. It took years for me to develop that skill, to be able to put them on certain cards. Just how they play, how I would play in that situation, how other people have played that I've ran into in that situation, how they played previous strong hands that session, how they played other hands. Because sometimes it's pretty easy to play a guy if he's like 150, 150, 150 all the time, and then next thing you know he's like 800. He throws out the $800 bet, right? So it should be suspicious. If you have a good hand, maybe call. But if they all of a sudden, if they're change their betting patterns, unless they always change their betting patterns, I always change my betting pattern. I don't think he has the king, but I'll get unlucky, and I called it. Every time I make those right calls, I end up getting rivered. And it's proof on film. That's why I'm not rich. That's why I don't have lots of money, because I make these calls and it's rigged against me. That's why I don't play for lots of money. I did play in a $100 tournament the other day, or last week, but it was, or 2 of them, but it was because I won a $10 tournament. So I used my bankroll. I wouldn't put $100 of my money on and play a $100 tournament on any website, because it's rigged. Because every time I make those calls, they river me. When I know they're bluffing, and it's like I don't believe them, and I call with a marginal hand. When I'm the favorite, I still lose every time. All you have to do is watch, say, the last 10 videos of mine, and it must have happened 10 times. And they're hour-long videos at least, usually, so I'm sure it's happened at least once. And all it does is it allows these cheats to think they're better than what they are. The software bails them out. They suck as players because they have to cheat, and they make poor decisions, and then the rig bails them out. So they don't grow as players. They suck as players, really. If you have to use cheat codes to peek at somebody's cards to see if you have them beat, why are you playing a game of skill? If you want to cheat and make money, go to the stock market. They do insider trading all the time through my head. All the time through my head. There's so much that I love stocks. I once doubled my money in 16 days. And the very first time, my very first stock that I got, real money stock, I would have turned $4,000 into $10,000 in a month if I would listen to my instinct. But I got a little conservative, so I sold it. But I made $1,500 in a day rather than something like $4,500 in a day, which I would have made $4,700. And on this real-time stock trader app, I think I doubled my money in a day, the very first day. But then people don't buy and sell like they do on that real stock app, so it's not authentic. But that's what got me into trading, was this real stock app. I doubled my money, like 5,000 American in a day. Right? In a mutual fund, it takes 8 years. About 7, 8 years for them to double your money, and I could do it in a day. So I reinvented the hedge fund by looking at successful companies on a different stock exchange that I never looked, that I didn't plan on trading on. And I found out some successful numbers, like earnings before interest, deductions, and amortization is important. Knowing some basic accounting. But there was some other Bollinger Bands, the candle wick effect. There was some of these strategies, but I had a unique perspective on it. And entry level. It's something that I'm a natural at, and I'd be phenomenal at it, but I don't want to make these electronic pedophiles rich. I don't want to make them listen to my thoughts and make them rich. Because I'll show you right now. It happens all the time. Okay, so here's Kodak. So you can see I searched it June 19th, June 18th, but way down here, June 20th or April 26th, I searched it. So let's go back to this one right there. So it dropped down quite a bit, actually, since I mentioned that it was at its peak a few days ago. But if you look at the 6 month, April 24th, it kind of peaked. I checked it out April 26th, and I predicted that it was going to go down a bit and that it would climb up to its 52-week high, which was about $6. And now it's dropped down, so it's not as advantageous anymore. But people were listening to my thoughts, so they bought it. Some probably bought it less than $5 a share, and they sold it at $6 a share. So they made over $1, say $1.25 per share, just hacking my brain, listening to my thoughts. And so it's why I don't do stocks, basically. Because why would I want to help these electronic rapists of mine get rich and keep me poor? They keep me poor. I panhandle. They steal my DNA to make athletes better, and they haven't given me a cent yet. So the government's going to owe me and my kids a lot of money. Instead of me getting Olympic gold medals and world records, these pedophiles get the glory instead of me and my kids. So that has to change before I share my DNA with the world. My son has to, he's into weightlifting, so he has to break a world record in weightlifting. Unrestricted, he needs to break a world record because he's physically capable of it. And if he wants to, with a couple years training, he would be the UFC champion, probably a couple divisions. If he wanted to be in a 3-division champ, he'd be a 3-division champ. He just needs to spend, say, 3 years, 4 years to become an expert. A lot of time learning how to stand up, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's a good wrestler, so you need a stand-up game, a submission game, but that would take. He could do it probably within, within 5 years. 5 years of commitment. I almost did it at 28. I almost committed myself 5 years of commitment to fight in the UFC. Did the 7 rain on my parade? Who has the 7-9? So this is why I'm so short stacked that I'm calling, but and it's play money, but he probably has the 7 or 7-9. 7-9 would be deadly right now. 7-9. I would have folded if I had more more chips than that, but I was so short stacked. Okay, this table's getting kind of boring now. Play heads up, okay, no. I'm trying to get some 9-player experience for when I go to the casino, because usually you're 9-handed at the casino, right? So at least 9-handed. So you got to be more selective. You can't play as many pots as you can when you're 6-handed. So I prefer 6-handed the most, because the most sites they make you play 6-handed, because it forces you to play bad hands when you're more often when you play 6-handed or 5-handed, because you have to be, the blinds come around, you pay money 2 out of those 5 hands, right? So you have to be more active. If not, you get picked apart. Whereas 9-handed, you only spend money 2 out of the 9 hands. So there's 7 hands you get to see for free, which allows you to be more selective. But that being said, like, doesn't mean you can't dominate and take over a table with any 2 cards. If the table's playing really tight, then you got to loosen up. But if the table's really loose, you got to tighten up. And then individual players, but just the general vibe of the table, you see the action on the table when you first sit down. You want to sit down for a couple minutes. Ideally, you don't want to get involved with a hand right away. You want to kind of see the tempo of the table and see who's active, and basically see what the big stacks are doing. The people that have lots of chips in front of them, are they really active players, or are they picking their spots? Are they playing every hand? Because when you got lots of chips, you can play every hand. That's a nice bet. Woo! Normally I don't play 3s that way, so I figured I'd throw a curveball to the artificial intelligence system. Even though I'm playing poker right now, economies are being affected. So when you call out the government, you I could show a video. Oh boy, do I know which one it is? But this video basically shows how anticipates that they were going to try to say that I was schizophrenic, and people don't develop schizophrenia in their 40s, especially after they call it the government, right? So most schizophrenics are probably innocent people that are intelligent, that these people are communicating with them. So they hear voices because people can communicate with your thoughts. So they steal intellectual property from these people. Some of these people have done bad things, most of them probably set up to appear to do bad things. Because they're talented. Since they're talented, I'm trying to point out the flaws with the government, right? So the government's trying to discredit me by saying that I have schizophrenia, right? Even though they don't communicate with me anymore, because I was gaining too much information from them. At one point I was able to pick this. Her son violated my son in sports, and I was able to pick her psyche up in my mind's eye and pick out her sin number out of her head, get her to confess her sin number to me. I forget, I know it starts with a 6 now, but at the time, like, I remembered the entire sin number, 9-digit sin number. There's going to be people that I know that are sharing attributes. There's this one kid particularly. He's abnormally tall for his parents' size. So they've used the taxpayers' money to make this kid taller, basically. It costs thousands of dollars a day. And taxpayers' money they spend to make these pedophiles better than other people. So I'd restrict anybody from leeching from me and my kids. I speak on my kids' behalf because they're not consciously trying to vanquish their violators like I am. Okay, I'm gonna fold because it's only 6s, and if you're new to poker, it's one thing to go all in with 6s, but with 2 callers, there's a good chance you're gonna lose. So fold. Like 2 people in the pot, pardon me. So I would have lost. But if I would have, it's one thing to go all in with a small pocket pair, but it's another thing to call a small pocket pair, especially if there's multiple people in the pot. The odds of you winning, like, because I had a pair of 6s, so any card above 7 could beat me, basically, on the flop, turn, or river. Oh, they could have a pair of 7s or 7-10, it would have beat me. As in that case, they had 3 overcards I had to avoid if I was in the pot. There was 2 queens, 3 aces, and 3 queens, or kings. Didn't figure my 5s would get there. So the early position raise is always suspicious. This person's probably going to win the hand. But I'm going to see a flop in case I get lucky, and I might be able to play them. Nice hand. Yeah, I was in a play money tournament yesterday, and I got 4 flushes in a play money tournament. Where's my luck? I've been playing real money more often than play money, so it's pretty suspicious that I'm getting luck when I have play money hands. 4 flushes. It got to the point where it's like I was getting the pot odds, or it was advantageous for me to chase the flush, and I would hit. It was awesome. I would just rather it for real money, though. Real money luck, not when 2 hands out of 10 lately have been play money. Nice call. The time I swung for the fences. You swing for the fences, you're gonna get some strikeouts. I'm just getting unlucky. I haven't made a single hand since I had 1 hand at this deal. I missed every flop except for pair 9s when I had Jack 9. So an likely hand that I would have played. And then what else was there? Let's see. So I won one pot. No, I didn't win that pot. One with a pair of threes. So I won 2 pots. 2 unlikely scenarios too. Pair of threes with an ace on board. And Jack 9. Call. Jam. I think he has an overpair since I hit the board because I'm likely to call. I think he has queens. He's king. With that board, I got lucky there. But with that board, almost every time I end up with top pair ace kicker, they have 10s or higher. In that scenario. Almost every time. But they don't all the time, so sometimes you gotta maximize it. I played it every different way. I played it slow, like checking it down because I know the 10's there. Looking for the ace. But then even when you hit the ace, sometimes you have a lower 2 pair. If the king would have came when I had the 9 on the flop and the king would have came on the turn, he would have gained the lead, and then I would have seen the ace, so I would have been cautious that he would have had ace king, but I would have had 2 pairs, so I might have been blinded at that second when it was my turn to play. So at least I won with ace 9, an underdog situation, even though I went in as the favorite. Somebody could have East Deuce. That's a playable hand. But I think he might have the flush draw, so I'm gonna see. Gonna plant the seed right now. So I set that up with the raise on the turn, depending on the river. If the spade would have came, he probably would have called, so I would have aborted. But I was pretty sure he had a flush draw at that time. I could put them on flush draws pretty occasionally, but pretty good. But when they have a pair with the flush draw, I can't see that coming. So I could put them on. I could say, okay, they don't hit any of the flop here, but then they'll have pocket aces or something. Even though in that scenario it was likely somebody had a 10. Hopefully I could put somebody on in the next 10 minutes. Every hand I play, I want to try to put somebody on a hand. But I can't do it. I believe they're listening to my microphone, so I have to do it afterwards. I can't really say it during the hand like I did last time where I'm setting them up with the bluff. I'll have to mention it afterwards because I believe my opponents could cheat. So after the hand, I'll explain my theory. Or after that round. Maybe after the flop. Especially if I'm not in the hand. Does he have two pair? Let's see how this goes. Does he jam if Rainy Bow, is it ace jack or two pair with the jam? Call. Okay, so two pair. You ended up with two pair. It was pretty obvious he had at least the jack to me. So now the flush came in. So I set that up with the bet on the flop, the check on the turn, and the bluff on the river. That was the plan that hand. Depending on the board, right? You have to kind of adapt to the board. But it worked out that time. It's a little steep. I meant to go 7K. But I should run into big hands often enough when I have ace king that they call those bets. Because when you get ace king and nobody calls, it's kind of, it seems like it's lucky. I guess it's lucky that it didn't lose is the only silver lining I ever look at it. So now here's a situation when you can see the raise and then the re-raise and then the call. So be suspicious of these three players. This guy's most likely going to fold. I'm folding. But we'll see how it develops. But this guy most likely has the best starting hand. Maybe not. Let's see. This is interesting. This is spicy. Let's see what he does. Does he fold or jam? And this guy. This is a nice size pot. I wish I was in this pot with the winning hand. So, oh, it doesn't look like we're gonna see the outcome. Let's see if they fold to another 17K bet. Oh, I hit the cream. Oh, that was bullshit. That's why I lose at poker. Instantly called him because I knew he was making a move. And got hammered by luck. Happened twice this video. Hammered by luck. He had exactly 6 outs. And let's see, there was 47 cards, so 6 divided. I'm going to show you the math. I could ballpark it in my head, but this was his odds of winning. 6 divided by 47. He had an 8% chance when he called. The odds might have been different than that, but based... wait a second, that's 4 outs, not 6 outs. 6 divided by 47. So he had a 12.7% chance based on outs before... He had no draw. All he had was 6 outs on the flop when he called. So he had a 12.7% chance. Well, that's the end of the video. So if you like the way I played, let's see. Go to www.change.org/technology. Read the petition. Sign it, share it on social media, contribute a few bucks to get it on the agenda in your country. So government task force could be set up with civilian and military oversight committees, and we could stop the switch. Basically, my theory is partially based on this patent, and there's different biosensors to see what you see, hear what you hear, find out what your blood pressure's doing, toxins, glucose, what your brain's doing. So seeing your thoughts, hearing your thoughts, seeing what your ECG's doing, your heart, and it could all be viewed over the cell phone. And you can see by the cell phone it's an older technology, so fight for freedom and liberate free will. Don't be seduced by celebrity or because they're all manufactured pedophiles basically. They're electronic pedophiles and they manufacture other people to commit these indecent acts. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great day.